Hey guys, as you can see, we have the newest Vail member here finally. He is 2 weeks old. He was born on the 6th at 7:36 in the morning, and he weighed 8 pounds 13 ounces, and he was 21.5 inches long. He was a big kid. And I ended up getting my C-section at 39, what I thought was 39 weeks according to my doctor's count. But really it was 38 and 3 days, or 38 and 5, 38 and 3 or 38 and 5, I don't remember. But it was somewhere in there. And so I ended up going in and having my C-section, and it was a different experience. It was very different. I came in, we left our house at about 4:30, which is where you guys last saw me. And we came into the hospital. I was really calm at first. And I was ready. I was ready to have my baby in my arms, and it was really a relaxed experience at first. And I was really calm. I was making jokes with the nurses. My grandmother showed up first at the hospital, and we were talking, laughing, and then shortly afterwards my mom had shown up. And my mom, my grandmother, and I put together, it's a bad combo. It's 3 generations of smart Alex. So anyways, so we were just laughing and stuff, and at about 7 o'clock, I want to say, the anesthesiologist came in to give me my spinal. And well, he's just starting to tell me about it. So he's telling me about it, and then I went into panic mode. I started freaking out. It was weird. I was so calm, and then all of a sudden I just was ridiculously scared. I didn't know what was going to happen. The way that he described my spinal, I was so nervous how bad it was going to hurt, all this stuff. It was terrible. And after a little bit, it kind of, my nerves subsided, but then I was sick to my stomach because they gave me this little shot. It tasted like the outside of a warhead, the sour part, and it's supposed to take away heartburn and sickness and all that stuff, and it didn't. It made me sick. So they gave me a little shot in my IV to kind of make me not sick, but after that I was just over it. I was sick and I didn't feel good, and I was scared, and I was probably sick also because I was scared. He thinks he's the tree climber. But so after I started they wheeled me back into the surgical room, where I don't know where it is or how it is where you guys are from, but here we can't have our spouses in the hospital when we get our epidurals, spinals, anything. So my husband couldn't go, my mom couldn't come into the viewing room or anything like that until after I had my spinal. So that was a really nerve-wracking experience for me. And it was not as bad as I thought it was going to be. So they got me up on the table, and they started doing, he cleaned my back off and all that stuff, and gave me the numbing shot. And then he went to stick the spinal in. Well, because I don't know what it was going on, but my back was so tight from being just, I guess, so out of place and everything like that, he couldn't get it in the right spot for a while, and he had to work it around, which it didn't really hurt. It was just a very weird feeling. I had never really felt something like that in my life. It was just, there was just so much wiggling, and it's inside of you. Well, I guess I have felt something wiggling inside of me, clearly. I have 2 kids, but that's not what I mean. It was just weird. It was involuntary, and it just felt like, it was just really a strange feeling. So when he finally got it, you could definitely tell that he got it, because all of a sudden my bottom started to get a little tingly, and my legs got tingly, and I kind of started to feel a little different. So when you get a spinal, they want to lay you back. They don't want you to move. They don't want you to do it, because it can cause the spinal to go up farther than they want it to go, and that actually ends up making a very bad deal. So they lay me down, and I start sitting there, and I hear my anesthesiologist say, "Have you done the pinch yet?" Well, because I watched The Business of Being Born and, you know, all these other movies, I watched these C-section videos on YouTube and all this stuff to terrify myself. Of course, you know, like every other mom. I watched all these videos to terrify myself, well, to get information, and I knew that they were going to pinch me with a clamp. So I was prepared for it when he said that. And the doctor said no, and he goes, and all of a sudden I felt like a really sharp pain in my stomach. He said, "Are you feeling anything right now?" And I said, "I'm feeling a really sharp pain." He goes, "Okay." You gave it just a couple seconds. He goes, "You feel anything now?" I said, "Nothing. And by the time, Oh, look at that smile. By the time my husband finally came into the room, which was literally right after, just probably 2 minutes after they'd asked me if I felt anything yet, I guess they had already begun the surgery. And I didn't know about it. I didn't really know at all. I just felt some weird pressure was all. And I figured it was because they were getting me ready or something. They were getting my tummy ready, something. And so my husband sat there, and my mother and my grandmother, there was a viewing room right behind me when I was laying back. So it probably would have been about back here. They were able to see me, not the whole surgery, but they were able to see me. So I kind of turned back and gave them a reassuring smile that, I could do this. I was okay, even though I was nervous. Oh, goodness gracious. You don't like being on camera? Little do you know, you were on camera a lot of your pregnancy without you even knowing. Anyways, so they started doing that. My C-section went very quickly. Very quickly. When the baby came out, they brought him around to me. And all I could think of was he's so tiny. I didn't think he was going to be over 8 pounds at all. I was thinking, I had bet my mother, my grandmother, and my husband and I had all had bets on what his weight would be before we went into C-section. And they had said like 9 pounds. I think someone said 8'2" or something like that. And I had said 8'12". And he came out 8'13", but the nurse came around with him, and he's like, "Look, here he is." And I said, "Wow, how much does he weigh?" He goes, "I don't know. We don't have a scale in here. You'll have to wait and see." But I would say he doesn't make it to 8. I'd say he pushes about 7. Well, the nurse comes back in all of a sudden. He goes, "I will never, ever tell a pregnant woman that again." And I said, "Well, why not?" And he said, "Well, your son is 8 pounds, 13 ounces." I said, "Wow, oh my goodness, that's crazy." My son went to the nursery with my husband, and they relaxed for a little bit and got him all cleaned up. My husband was able to give him his first bath and have all those little special daddy moments that he didn't get to have the first time, because I hogged the baby the whole time I was in the hospital. But I got wheeled out, and as I'm coming out into recovery, I look to my right, and I'm right by the nursery, and I can see my son for pretty much the first time. And all I really remember doing is saying, or pointing to his head, like, "Take his hat off so I can see his hair. What color hair does he have?" And he took his hat off, and I was so shocked to see that he had dark hair, because my first son, Cade, he came out with blonde hair, and he was just blonde as could be. It cracked me up that they were just so different. Like, their faces, they look like mirror images of each other at that age. You could put both boys' pictures together, and the only way you could tell them apart is because Jaxson has dark hair and Cade had light hair. But anyway, so it was very, very fast. I was only in recovery for about 15 minutes. My spinal was wearing off really quickly. Everything was moving really quickly. I was fine. The nurse said, "I've never really seen someone's spinal wear off that quickly. That's great that you have such a good, I think, compatibility with it," or whatever she said. But it wasn't a terrible experience, which I was really shocked about. I was really nervous the first couple minutes because I just didn't know what was going to happen. I didn't know. I mean, the last surgery I had, I was completely asleep for. So, going to something where you're going to be cut open but be completely awake at the same time is a little nerve-wracking. But in the end, I think we went in at about 7:15, and the baby was born at 7. I want to say I went in to get my spinal at 7:15, and it took about 5 or 10 minutes maybe, and the baby was born at 7:36. And so we stayed in the hospital for 3 days, I believe, 2 nights, 3 days, I believe. His discharge weight was 8 pounds 2 ounces, or 8 pounds 3 ounces. 8 pounds 3 ounces. He lost all that weight. We had our first checkup the day we went, or the 2 days after we had come home, and he was back up to 8'7", so that was good. He was already on the rise right away, which was really good. He ate fine. He had a little bit of jaundice for the first few days, but I would just nurse him in front of a window, and it's all gone. He still has a little bit of yellow to his eyes, but that's very common in breastfed babies, I guess. So that's a plus. But he, it's okay, honey. It's okay. It's okay. So I weighed him at a week, and he was already up to 10 pounds. So now that he's 2 weeks, I don't really know how much he weighs, but I'm sure it's probably 10 something, or maybe a little bit over, but he's definitely a big boy. He doesn't really fit in the newborn clothes anymore. Hi, sweetheart. But he definitely fits very well in 0 to 3. He definitely fills them perfectly. So that's a plus. He is a very good sleeper. He'll wake up a couple times throughout the night and feed and nurse, or nurse and then get his diaper changed. But that's pretty much it. I mean, like, he really doesn't wake up like every 2 hours or even every hour or even every 3 hours. He's a very good sleeper, and he's a very good nurse. He latches absolutely perfectly. He's just all around an amazing baby. He really is. And he's definitely got, he's definitely very easy. He had, I had a lump that I had. It's a reactive lymph node that I had when I had Cade, when I was breastfeeding. And, it went away. I was taking amoxicillin. Well, turns out that it was giving the baby really bad gas, and he just didn't take to it well at all. Now that I'm done with my amoxicillin, he's not fussing anymore. He would fuss and just want to be held all day long, which I didn't understand what was going on, and because it wasn't really like him, because the days leading up to then, he was fine sitting and, kind of looking around, observing his world or the world around him and stuff. Well, then it turned to just constant fussing and only wanting to be held, which changed really quickly after my medicine ran out. So that's a really big plus. Now I'm treating any sort of infection that I have with kefir, which is the natural probiotic and stuff like that. It's a yogurt drink that it's amazing. I love it. And it has amazing health benefits. And they're really good for him too, so that's good. They pass through my breast milk. But I am nursing. His belly button, or his umbilical cord, fell off at 2 weeks exactly. Or the day before he was 2 weeks, it fell off. It was really nerve-wracking for me because his umbilical cord was so far back. It almost looked like a little hernia, but they told me that it was just his umbilical cord at the doctor's office. So I was my fears were kind of eased, but I still had kind of fear that he was going to have a hernia. So I took him to the doctor because I was holding him, burping him, and then I looked down at my tank top, and the top part of his umbilical cord was sitting on my shirt, but there was this raw, it almost looked like pus like in his actual belly button with blood and stuff, and it freaked me out, so I thought he had an infection. I went to the doctor, and it turns out he has what's called umbilical granulomas. I believe it's called, I'm not sure. And it's where his stomach muscles, because there's a muscle from the pubic bone up to right under the belly button, and there's one that goes down from his sternum down to the belly button. And naturally, they're supposed to fuse. And you and I, they would fuse. But with him, it didn't fuse. So the belly button produces this stuff to try and fill that hole. Well, his was doing that, and the doctor told me that he would probably end up having a small hernia that should go away by 18 months. And he does have a little hernia now, from what I can tell, but it's not growing at all. It's staying just probably the size of the tip of my finger, if that. But I can tell it's a hernia because I can bounce it in and out. I can push it in and out, and it's different. And the parents with hernia, you know what I'm talking about. With babies with hernias, you guys know what I'm talking about. But I don't know. I'm hoping that it'll go away by 18 months, so they don't have to do a surgery at about 3 or 4. My doctor said that they would wait to do any sort of surgery until he was about 3 or 4. So that's nice. But I mean, other than that, he's perfect in every way. He's absolutely beautiful. No more jaundice. He's wonderful. He's a great baby, and he's such a joy. And he's got so many facial features, which is so funny because my first son, Cade, he had a lot of expressions and stuff, but this little boy, I swear, he came out with a growl, just a horrible scowl on his face. He looked so angry. I told him, when he came out, I was holding him and nursing him, and I told him that he was going to need Botox by the time he was 5 because he was just like this. the whole time. It was hilarious. And then it started to slowly fade once his face started relaxing a little bit. So, but every now and again you'll see him stay like that. But he's got so many facial expressions. You'll be talking to him and he'll look and go, like, what? Are you serious? That's really what's happening? But he's hilarious, and he's such a sweet baby. But I'm really excited to be updating you guys more now that I have a lot more time and I'm healing up a little bit. But I'm going to do a part 2 video, part 2 postpartum video here in just a minute. And that'll be about my C-section and my recovery and just about me, not about the baby. But I wanted to show him to you guys and welcome him to the world. I still am using my nursing pillow and also my udder cover. I am in love with that thing because I go out to my grandparents' house a lot. We have family barbecues and stuff, and it's just so much easier to nurse with that thing on rather than having a receiving blanket where I'm constantly having to pull up. And I actually had an incident where I was in Walmart the other day, and he was crying, he was screaming, he was starving, which was weird because it was a little bit out of his feeding schedule. So I had to buy a receiving blanket to be able to feed him. And it was so terrible, and I was not going to feed in Walmart's nasty bathrooms. So I was feeding my son, walking through Walmart, just with him covered a little bit. But it was so inconvenient compared to my nursing cover. I'm so used to having it to where I can just look down and he's there, you know. And I'm still using my anyways, like I said, I'm still using my nursing pillow. I haven't really gotten to use the one on the go yet, the smaller one, but I'm hoping that here soon. I think I'm going to take it probably in the diaper bag. I have a nursing in the park meeting on Thursday, so I'm probably going to take it then. And hopefully I'll take it then. And then I can try it in the park because it'll give me a little bit of rest, like a little comfort, support to hold him up. I'm using the little the nursing pillow that goes under my breast as well. I've used it a few times, and I really like it for when I'm really tired or something like that because it just holds my breast up, and it makes it easier for him too when he's really squirmy and stuff. But oftentimes, like if I'm home or whatever, and if I'm awake and he's really awake and we're both fine, then he'll just nurse just like this. But it's really nice. I think those are the main products I'm using. I haven't really found, besides those products, any baby products that really just stand out. Oh, actually, there's a bassinet thing that I got. I'll have to look at what that's called and then tell you guys. But I'll tell you guys that next video. Alright guys, thank you for watching.